I don't need a funeral, but I feel like I need to know what it's like to ride. Ah, there he is. Thought I heard my crow as soon as I opened the door. I call him my crow like I have some sort of ownership in. How in the hell did that not break? I don't know. Who set a jar right on the edge of the table anyway? God, this video is just starting out. Motorcycles and me have a rich history. I've learned a lot of things over my life. As you're born and you go through the life, you learn. At least that was what I was taught. It's not what you have, it's what you know. I mean, I've taken that to heart. That's just good advice, good sound advice. It can't take away what you know. But you can lose everything you have in the blink of an eye. It could happen. But the first thing I remember being challenged to learn was riding a motorcycle. So the deal was with my grandfather was once the training wheels came off, I could try out the motorcycle for realsies, like crank her up, ride it around the yard, right? Little motorcycle. The day my training wheels came off the bicycle is the day I got on a motorcycle. And I learned, that was one of the first things I learned and an endeavor that I set out to conquer. But I swore off motorcycles. I just decided it was too dangerous to ride motorcycles out on the public roads. It was just too risky. Like I might get killed, and my children don't have a father. The children are grown. And again, the tide has shifted in my life where things are transitioning. Kids are grown up. They're tending to themselves a bit. I'm just here to support them, right? So, yeah, I mean, I guess technically they still need me. But at the same time, I got back into motorcycles. I bought a motorcycle. Kid wants to learn to ride it. Now he's addicted to motorcycles. He's learning at an older age. He's 18 learning to ride motorcycles. I was 5 when I learned to ride motorcycles. So he's got resources available to him. We put him in motorcycle school. I let him take that little motorcycle over there and just crash it all over the neighborhood and learn how to ride. He's progressed wildly. On the other hand, I've got decades of public road experience, motorcycle road experience under my belt. And again, it was such a drastic shift in, I'm tapping out, keep them, to becoming curious again. And the curiosity hit me like just the way my life is right now. At this point, I own everything that I've got. I'm just paying taxes on it. So it's mine, free and clear. The cars, the trucks, the bikes. I saved up money for a funeral. That's where I'm sitting, that's it. I'm not concerned with making a huge pile of money. And it's a strange philosophy. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but again, it's how I choose to live my life. I would like to live my life on my terms, and I know you need money to live life. But, should I get struck down by whatever, a tree branch? I've had friends die from so many different ways. One guy, a telephone pole fell in front of his car. I know somebody that knew somebody that their friend slipped and fell and broke their neck in a shower. And I know these are kind of cliche excuses for that's why I ride motorcycles, but it's deeper than that with me. It goes back 42 years, even with a 10-year gap. When I quit riding motorcycles 10 years ago, the Suzuki Hayabusa was the fastest, most powerful motorcycle that there is on the street, and it's still a street killer too. The Boost is no joke. But there was another motorcycle that was invented the year after I quit motorcycles. And that was always kind of I never did sport bikes. It was the only category of motorcycles I've never pursued in any sort of manner. I've done the other types of motorcycles. I've never done sport bike motorcycles. So we got some sport bike motorcycles, and I like them. They're fun. But I can see the reason why they're not for the powerful ones. They're not for the immature, not for the seasoned, motorcycle veteran. I don't know if I'm that or not, but I've been doing it a long time, and I've had the close calls, since I can remember. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that makes me. I don't ride stupid. I don't do stupid things. You're always going to speed on a motorcycle a little bit. That's just part of riding a motorcycle. But I pass law enforcement on a regular basis, doing 15 over the speed limit, and give them a tap and a wave, and nobody blinks an eye out there on the highway. In town, I give it a little more wildly off topic. But the curiosity hit me, and now that I'm getting back into motorcycles, all of a sudden there's motorcycle contents. It's just there. There's piles of it. But I did search, what is the fastest motorcycle available? And it came up this Ninja H2R, production bike. Now, when I say fastest motorcycle available, there are custom motorcycles out there that will squash just about anything. Just about anything. Again, depending on the race parameters. And that's something that's important to mention as well, is I'm not into racing. That's not I'll goose it and go with you for a moment. Yeah, sure, but I'm not going to race you to any sort of competitive nature. That's not who I am and not what I do. But I had this curiosity about this motorcycle, and I also had the funeral money. And I said, well, I don't need a funeral, but I feel like I need to know what it's like to ride one of these motorcycles. And there's only one way to really know, right? To just try one out, you wouldn't gain anything about it except for what a violently powerful motorcycle the Ninja H2 is. And I've got the H2. That's the street version of the H2R. And this one has been hopped up. Don't have any numbers on it. I don't have any history on it. We could not find anything. You could tell what was done to it. It's got a full exhaust. It's got an engine tune. It had a Sprint air filter installed. So best estimate, we're talking about a 240 horsepower motorcycle. And I wanted to try one out just like that. That's what I wanted to try out is the H2 pimped. And it was either order a new H2 and pimp it, which would take time and far more money than I had saved up for my funeral. I'm not that vain. So in the event of my collapse from this speck of dirt, I'm to be cremated and spread with the dogs. That's my wish. And save a drop of blood if they want to resurrect me later. But guys, the short of it is I had to know. I had these other sport bikes. We were riding them around. And, you know, Daddy's got this itch. And Mama said, you get to do what you want in this relationship. Because that was a hard swallow. You know, I pondered on it for just a week or two. And in the meantime, I was browsing the listings for this Ninja H2. And as I browsed the listings, well, it became apparent that they're pretty rare. But I'm going to pull this sucker out and we're going to go on a ride down the road. So I decided I had to try out an H2, right? I mean, it's Kawasaki's jewel of the fleet. They don't even make profits on these things. These rear sets, the pegs, the brake lever, and the little metal bracket that it's all hooked to, I built that myself so that this motorcycle would fit me appropriately. I didn't mention it in the video, so I'm coming back in at the editor just to let you know this is all Kylo. They're custom order. And I had no idea. I just, I saw the thing and I was like, you know what? I could trade my funeral for a Ninja H2. And I decided that that's the move to make. So yeah, they're not putting these things on loan. You can't test drive them. I couldn't even find one. It makes a wicked sound. Wicked sound, I tell you. All right, hombres. So I did this video the other day and it came out sounding like total shite. So I'm going to remake it today, and I'm going to tell you how I came about getting this ultimate piss missile of a motorcycle here. The Ninja H2. So we're dealing with a beautiful late November day. Hey, there's my crow friend and his wife. Supposed to be like 80-something degrees today. Like they're talking about record highs and stuff. I'm with me at this time of the year. As long as it's not record highs during the summer, they don't care. But we're gonna do this audio check and this ride to town. I got 2 errands. I gotta go get some cat food and a haircut. And while the motor's warming up, we'll just vlog about it a little bit. It's hard to keep this thing kind of held down. It wants to go. It wants to go. It don't want to go slow. It wants to go fast. So yeah, I reached the decision that, look, I'm looking for an H2. And I've got these other motorcycles at this point, and I'll start driving around and going to different Kawasaki dealerships. It's obviously a Kawasaki product. I'd read about it, watched a few videos, like, boy, I'd be curious to try this bike out and just see what's what. I know it's expensive. I've got the money. I decided that I'm trading the funeral for a Hyperbike, like the Hyperbike of Hyperbikes. And so let's find one, right? So I go to a Kawasaki dealership. I didn't expect that every dealership would have one just sitting around, but I kind of figured if I went in and said, hey, I'd like to check out an H2, they would be like, oh, well, we can accommodate you. We can have one here in a couple weeks or something like that. I really had no idea that these things are as rare as they are. Now, they're not so rare that you can't find them. I mean, it's not like that, but these motorcycles are not common, as what I've learned over the last few months of riding these things. A lot of people have never even seen one in real life. It was intriguing after the fact, but I digress. So I go to 5 dealerships. I'm not gonna mention their names, but if you draw a pentagram, an upside down pentagram, over where I'm at right now, at all 5 points of the stars are Kawasaki dealership, and I went to all of them. I was just taking, like weekly motorcycle trips, or every few days, whenever I had a day off, I would take a motorcycle trip, and I would go to a Kawasaki dealership. And I shit you not, in all 5 locations, I walked in, and I said, hey, I'm curious about a Ninja H2. And they all laughed. It was just, you know, funny, and I was serious about it. I mean, whether I look like a serious dude or not, when I say something, I mean it. So they kind of laughed in my face, and a lot of them said, you know, I've never even seen one. One dealership told me that they couldn't even get one, even if they ordered it. It would have to go through like a different dealership. I don't know. This is all hearsay. This is what like salespeople were telling me. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me, and I was baffled. I was baffled. I decided that the used market was definitely the place to go to figure out the availability of these things. I'm looking all around, all the online resources for a used kit, right? And sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. And I just started browsing the listings, and I still wasn't all in yet, right? I had the money, I had the decision kind of made, but I wanted this bike that I'm on was what in my mind was my dream bike. Kitted out just like this. Not the Ninja H2R, but the Ninja H2, fully pimped with the full Van Diemen exhaust, engine tune, the green color with the red supercharger badge. Like, these are the things that I wanted for my H2, should I get one. Because I'm not spending that kind of coin on a bike and getting something that's close. Now, of course, I could have got a brand new one and then pimped it out myself, but that would have cost twice what I wanted to spend on a bike like this. I'm looking around, and most of them are pretty close. The ones that I'm finding are pretty close. Even on the internet, though, a lot of them just had pictures, like the stock picture of an H2, not the actual picture of a bike in the shop, but there were a few places that did. There was one in Oklahoma City. There was 2 in Dallas. There were 3 in Houston. There was one in Alabama. I can't remember the town. But these were like the closest bikes to me. You know, 5 hours away was the closest bike to me, Ninja H2. And a lot of those didn't even have the stuff like I wanted. Like, some of them were different year models, different colors, like the badge was different. I also checked out the other supercharged models they had, the naked bike, the ZH2, and the touring version. They put this motor, well, not this motor, but they put a almost identical motor into the touring version. It doesn't have like the beefiness that this bike has on the internals. Like, they make them a little different. The pistons are billet instead of forged. And anyway, I don't want to get into the weeds with it, but I wanted a Ninja H2, like the original variant, pimped out. I found one in Dallas. It was about $5,000 less than this one. Now, it didn't have the exhaust that I wanted, but for the price of this bike, I could have added the exhaust and still come out a little ahead. I called them as soon as I saw the listing. The listing had been up for like 6 hours. Well, when I called, guess what? They laughed at me. The lady was sweet, but she laughed and said, oh, that bike sold 2 hours ago. So it was only on the market for about 3 hours, and then somebody snatched it up because it was a really good deal. Now, the next one on my list was this bike, right? The next one that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go check out the next one. It was in Houston, Texas, and I drove down there, and it was pimped out just like I like it, and I bought this fucking bike. So I call the guy, I say, look, I'd like to come down there and check this out. It's like a Saturday. And of course, he says, yeah, we'll hold it for you for, you know, write a down payment. And I'm like, no, sir, I'm going to show up and check it out before I decide to do any sort of financial things. Because for all I knew, I'd never even seen one. It was just a picture on the internet. I ain't never touched one of these things. So I wanted to go down there and kind of get a feel for what was really going on with this bike and find out if it was something that I even wanted, you know, like what if I couldn't fit on it at all. And there were I had to make custom rear sets for this thing. I'm sure I mentioned that in the video somewhere, because that was what I was planning on doing when I made this video. So I made the rear sets, and now the bike fits like very comfortably. I mean, it's not touring comfort, it's not adventure bike comfort, but I can ride this bike for the majority of the day with brakes interspersed, and it works out okay. It's not uncomfortable. I don't get too cramped up. I've also kind of figured out my style with it. You know, with these bikes, you don't get to test drive them. You don't get to try them out before you buy them, really. I mean, I guess you could rent one, but that wouldn't tell you a lot. You would know just how the insane violence that comes with this motorcycle. It's insane and it's violent. Those are just two words that kind of come to mind when I think about what's my initial reaction to the H2. Somewhere on the verge of ridiculous insanity is probably what you're coming up with. And I still feel the same way about this thing. We got a car there. What are they gonna do? They gonna stop. That's good. And I gotta tell you another thing, just a note about Houston traffic. Man, inside of those beltways, like the belts that go around the city, if you're anywhere inside of those things, you are in the worst traffic that I've ever been in. That place is a shit show of people that can't drive. I was almost in 6 accidents. That's 6 in Espanol. And I saw one car on fire on the side of the interstate. But that place was ridiculous. I was almost involved in 6 accidents, 3 of them on the way there, 3 of them on the way back with this bike in the trailer. That was a bit unnerving. But once you get outside of the beltways, traffic seemed to ease up and it was all good to go. But holy shit, on the inside of that town, I just had to throw that in there because it was striking. It was striking just how wild that place was. So over the course of my life, I had tried out all the other types of motorcycles, dirt bikes and dual sports and Harley Davidsons and cruisers and dragsters. And I believe I did the math. I think this is my 14th motorcycle over my lifetime that I've owned and rode. I'm counting the ones that I had when I was little too, like little dirt bikes growing up, but they're still motorcycles that I've owned. This is number 14, and it is not for the uninitiated motorcycle pilot. Just because you know how to ride, like this is a huge leap, even from super sport bikes. It's a huge leap. It blew my mind just how much more power this thing had over the motorcycle I had that I thought was powerful. This is on a whole nother level of motorcycle. This Ninja H2 is, man, it's the saltiest of the salty. Let's put the caveat back in there that this motorcycle is not the most powerful motorcycle in the world or anything like that. There are motorcycles out there that will blow this thing out of the water. There's people that sink hundreds of thousands of dollars into motorcycles, very likely, and those motorcycles could easily like spank this one, I'm sure. But this thing will spank just about anything else on the road. It would humiliate all of yours, like normal cars that you could buy, anything that you could just buy off the shelf for less than $1 million. This thing would annihilate in any sort of contest. When they compare these bikes, they race them against Bugattis and McLarens, shit like that, you know, stuff that's super high end, upper $500,000 cars, $1 million cars. Oh, I hear Christy's dog's in there over the helmet even. So like, I'm gonna go in here and get a haircut, and then we'll come back out here and talk about it. Yeah, it's me. What's up, y'all? That's about as fresh as a haircut gets right there, y'all. Does it look good? I gotta get cat food. We're out of cat food.
It's a birthday party Saturday. Y'all wanna come over? He'll be 50, so.
50 years old. Holy shit, we're getting old, Christy.
I know.
Oh, I feel it every time I lean over to pick up my gloves. And I noticed on the videos, you know, I've been making them for over a decade. I was looking back at some of the old footage, man, and my hair was dark and lush, and now it's kind of scraggly and gray, and it's not even salt and pepper anymore. It's just fucking salt.
That's funny.
That's all right.
You want to eat something good this weekend?
I'm always interested in that. I'm perfectly in between fat and fighting weight. Like, I'm right in the middle right now. It feels good. I like it here. I'll see you, Christy. Let's see if it cranks up and makes it to the gas station, huh? Now the sun comes out. Clear enough on the right. I'm going for it. Squid our way to town over here. Man, this road to the gas station is pretty fucking terrible. That's a fact. So the H2 doesn't have a fuel gauge. That's something that struck me as an oddity. It just starts blinking when it's almost out of gas. So I use the trip meter and some common sense to kind of, when it starts getting around 90, 100 miles, like I better start looking for a gas station because it's getting sort of low at that juncture. It's 93. Hey, it's a 3-for haircut, gas station, and cat food. I didn't buy the thing for gas mileage either. Let's go ahead and reset this dude before we go too deep into the pain here. Where should I go to get the cat food? Tractor Supply or Brookshire's? You know what? I am right here at Walmart, but I'd like to ride around. Let's go to Brookshire's. Clouds or sunshine? I can't decide. Don't run me over, car. I'm sitting right here. These little spots make me nervous sometimes. Big trucks turning and bullshit. Come on, light, I'm fogging up here. Oh, there we go. Alrighty. I wonder how big of a bag of cat food I could fit in my backpack. Couple facts about the Ninja H2. For the time being, it's the only production bike that has a supercharger that comes with it. You can add superchargers to bikes, but this one comes out of the store with one, and that's kind of the claim to fame. It's just so violent. Like the throttle is so touchy. It's only got a quarter throw. From no throttle to full throttle, it's just 1/4 of a turn. It's borderline ridiculous. So the cats will be fed now. Gas, cat food, and a haircut. Could go by and visit with my mom. Boy, the leaves are falling. I actually saw some colors locally the other day. It's not like the Northeast or whatever. There's some species of trees that turn just this vibrant fall colors when the leaves change. We don't get a lot of those around here though. So some facts about the Ninja H2. They come out of the box at like about 220 horsepower. I suspect this one is probably pushing around 240. There was no history on this bike. We tried to reach out to the previous owner just to find out what was done to it. Like the store didn't know. We found the previous owner, but we couldn't get a response out of them about any sort of bike history. But it had a few scratches on it. I actually negotiated a discount on the price because it had the upgraded exhaust. I was like, that's not factory, it's less value. And they couldn't really argue with me at the dealership because they knew that. And so they did work with me on the price. That was kind of cool. But I had no idea just what of a head turner of a motorcycle that this thing was. I've been out of the game for a long time. I just discovered it. Many places, many gas stations, parks, places that I go, people stop and look at this thing and come up and talk about it. And so I've never seen one in real life. I get that comment a lot. A lot of people just say, never seen one in real life. I mean, I hadn't either, I guess. Whatever, that's a real thing. And I've never had a vehicle that turned heads like this, like some sort of, this motorcycle, for lack of a better word, is iconic, legendary. Call it whichever of those kind of words that you're looking at. This is a legendary, iconic motorcycle. And if you know motorcycles and you've ever looked up what's the fastest motorcycle, you'll find this one. But that's kind of the short of it. I had to know. Hey, Mom.
You on the fancy bike today?
Yeah, I am. Oh, there you are. Come here, Annabelle.
That's a pretty bike.
I thought the same thing. It's striking. That's what the whole video that I was trying to make was about, was just how sort of a legendary, iconic bike. It's got the supercharged engine that comes from the store like that. The paint is custom. It's self-healing black chrome silver paint. It's got real silver flakes in there.
It contrasts good with that green.
Yeah, the green. I wanted the green. I mentioned that earlier when I was talking about it.
Do these tires grip very well? Because they have no tread.
Mom, it's gonna chew through tires like the dickens. I got a different kind to go on the back when this one gets eat up, but they flatten off pretty good. Let's see, how many miles do I have on the thing? 9318.
Like it would be hard to maneuver.
It is. The turn radius is bullshit. It doesn't turn very tight at all. It's not made to turn. I mean, there was almost no room for me to even install the charger. Oh yeah, that was a custom addition too, was the charging port for the phone and the phone mount. There's just enough room to put a phone mount on there, but for the most part it does what I want it to do.
It's a different.
But everywhere I go, if people know what they are, especially, they always come over, it seems like.
It's just a different bike type.
You don't see them. Sport bikes are kind of rarish anyway, versus the cruisers and the Harleys and the adventure bikes. And then out of the sport bikes, you got this dang shiny beast. It's ridiculous. This one's got a slimmer profile, almost like a 600 style bike or a regular 1000, but because it's supercharged, it's got the power of those big wide ones with the gigantic. As the cylinders get bigger, the motorcycle gets wider substantially. There's the Hayabusa and the ZX14 by Kawasaki that are sort of those 1400, 1600. I don't know. They've got some pretty big inline fours. I can't remember if it's 14 or 16 cc's, 100 cc's. But this one's only 998. But because of the boost, it's got this raw acceleration that it's just super powered. It makes regular bikes feel like little toys. Like every other bike feels like a little toy motorcycle after riding this one a bunch. Even big like race motorcycles like hopped up. I'm gonna light it up. I love you, Mom. Always. You. I think I'm gonna go to the right. Let's go, Scott. I don't know what else I can say about it. I had to know. Those are just some of the things. I'm sure I'm leaving out a lot. I'm not that hung up on it. I had to know, personally, I had to know what it was like. I hope you like the content. I hope it sounds good and that it's not some sort of shitty content. I had to rev for the kids there. With the kids pointing, like, look at that. Give them a little rev, never hurts, right? But I'm gonna get this cat food back over to the house. But before we do that, I'm gonna do one more get on it for you. See if I can't goose it a little bit for the content, right? Everybody likes goosed content. Is that a thing? If I can't see the corners, I won't go hard around them. But this bike claim to fame is the acceleration. It's the acceleration of it. There ain't nobody pulling out here. And I guess I should have seen what the mic sounded like, but whatever. You're really only focused on one thing when you're doing stuff like that. Whatever's way ahead of you is where your thoughts and eyes should be. My brother showed up right before I was gonna leave, y'all. Here he is in the flesh, and Megan. Ryan walked around the corner as I was breaking and entering in your back door there to go and use the bathroom, and I was like, oh good, he's here. I don't have to work my way in. Have you seen this one yet? Oh wow, yeah, okay. It's loud as sin too, so it's like firing the hole. I got 4th place at the rev competition at the car show. They called me back for the finals to do the rev competition. When I lit that motorcycle off, the whole crowd wasn't ready for it. And they all, like the whole crowd in unison, jumped back. It was like, fuck. I hit the limiter on it. Yeah, this was a Frisbee golf trip, but I was on my way home from Frisbee golf. I was like, I'm going by my brother's house, and I'm testing a microphone and the camera too, so. All right, y'all, love y'all.
Take care, bye-bye.
Always. I'll be back some point randomly. Made home safe. GoPro died somewhere down the road. One of my motorcycles has a camera system, but not the H2. So I've taken to just turning that thing on and letting it record. It blows my mind every time I ride it. It really does. There's something raw and insane about this motorcycle that, I mean, I ain't got a ton of superbike experience. I've rode a couple of R1s. Oh no, one Hayabusa, an R1M. It was an R1M that I rode. After you ride this motorcycle, every other motorcycle feels like some kind of child's toy. It's strange. It's strange. There's probably some pretty badass, powerful dirt bikes that probably come close to feeling like this thing. But this thing's something else. We'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching. If you watch this much of it, I don't know how big a video this is going to be. But I'm just going to wash this thing up and put it away to the next pretty day that I want to go ride it. Much love, y'all. Kyle out.